Good morning, everyone. My name is Paul, and I am a nerd, and you are lucky enough to be here for our webinar about CosmoLex by Tabs3 Software, which is a new product that the fine folks at Tabs3 Software have acquired. They purchased CosmoLex several months ago in order to beef up their cloud billing and accounting offerings. And we all know that that means that they must think that CosmoLex is the best billing and accounting software for law firms that's out there that's cloud-based, because STI, or the Tabs3 Software folks, are known for the best billing and accounting in the market. Without any further ado, I'm going to ask Erica to do several things, to take control of the screen first, but also to tell us a little bit about herself, a little bit about CosmoLex, and then as a company, and then a lot about CosmoLex as a product. Welcome, Erica.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, so you should all see it right now. Great, excellent. So for those who may not know me, as Paul said, I'm Erica Birstler. I am the Director of Strategic Communications at CosmoLex. Fancy title for saying I love talking with all of you. I've been doing that for quite a long time now. I think I myself have been in legal tech for about 8 or 9 years. And CosmoLex itself, I've been with the company since the doors first opened back in 2013. So we've been doing this for about 5 or 6 years now. And it's all very exciting. I mean, I very often get asked if I'm an attorney, a paralegal, a bookkeeper, and I am none of the above. I learn everything from speaking with all of you. We're speaking with the partners we work with, the law firms we work with, the staff, just to get a good understanding as to how law firms operate, the struggles that you tend to have, and then trying to develop solutions to help you with those struggles. And as Paul mentioned, we were recently, back in September, October time, acquired by STI, which is, of course, the makers of Tabs3, and we couldn't be more excited about that. I absolutely agree that Tabs3 is the gold standard when it comes to all-in-one, legal-specific, really robust billing and accounting software, especially, but other things as well. So we were really excited for that opportunity. I think it's going to create tremendous growth for the company as a whole. We're working very well together to just provide the two best solutions, one being on-premise and one being cloud. So today I figured I'd take a little bit of time to introduce yourself, all of you, to CosmoLex, what we do. You may not be familiar with us, so with that, I think we'll talk a little bit about us as a company. So we already talked about being a product of STI. That means over 100,000 legal professional users of both of our systems, and that's growing quite dramatically. So we are, I believe, the largest probably in the world combined for law firms specifically. In the legal tech industry since 2006, actually prior to CosmoLex, I was working in legal technology as well with more of that on-premise software. So I've been myself since about 2011. Our president, Rick Cabra, has been doing this since for over a decade now, going on 15 years. We do have customers in all 50 states and also all Canadian provinces. We've grown quite tremendously in the last few years. We actually took a year or so to focus on the Canadian market because they actually have very unique accounting requirements. Now, what does that mean for all of you? Well, it actually means that our system has become even more robust to meet those requirements, but it benefits all of our customers across the board. So that's been an interesting task to learn about how law firms in Canada function quite differently and being able to meet their compliance requirements. And we do have over 25 bar association affinity relationships. That's always growing. I know that in terms of events and meetings and trade shows that we go to, we attend quite a bunch, but also now with Tabs3, we're doing a lot of those together. So if you ever see either one of us at an event, please feel free to say hi, and I'd love to start a conversation with all of you. So a little bit about CosmoLex. My favorite way to kind of just talk about us as a catch-all is convenience without compromise. And what I mean by that is, if you're looking for a cloud solution, a modern solution, very often people think of convenience. You're dealing with mobility. I want to be able to use any device, anywhere, anytime. You might be in an office that is both Mac and PC, or you're really a big fan of using mobile apps or tablets, having that mobility. That's what people think of with convenience, but also not having to install updates. Updates happen automatically. I always give the example of if you're using like a Gmail. If Gmail changes something, it happens for you. You're not installing anything or activating it, and it's the same premise. We've actually been using cloud for a very, very long time in our personal lives or professional with email, online banking, social media. That's all cloud. So the same benefits apply here. And you also get the modern functions. A lot of cool new innovations happen in the cloud environment, like online payments and client portals, which always keeps it interesting and makes improvements for you, for your firm internally, but also improvements when interacting with your clients. So that's the first thing. CosmoLex is fully cloud. You can, of course, have all of these benefits. Now, what makes us similar to Tabs3, and this is the without compromise piece, is there's a lot of cloud products out there that will do the billing and the practice management, but the accounting, that's elsewhere. You need to use QuickBooks or some other tool, and we don't follow that idea. We actually truly believe that legal accounting is a very unique animal, and therefore there are specific things that need to be done certain ways. And Tabs3 has really, blazed the path in terms of what is unique for law firms and why things need to function a little bit differently. So you don't need QuickBooks, of course, with our software. You have all of your billing and accounting functions together, which, as many of you may already know, when your billing and accounting are separate, a lot of things can fall through. Your costs can fall through and not get billed. Your income can fall through and not get allocated properly. Your trust accounting can be in two different places. So we proactively chose to combine all of that together in a legal specific platform. So trust accounting, compliance reporting, your back office accounting, your firm expenses, all of that in one place. And of course, practice management. That's just the daily, literally how you manage your practice, your conflict checks, your managing your calendar, your to-do lists, your communication with your clients, your documents. And you may all have different solutions for all of the above. You may be using Tabs and Practice Master. You may be using different tools. I know in some law firms, there's different attorneys using different tools, especially when you get down to things like calendaring and document storage. Sometimes those can be kind of scattered or sporadic. And when things are, again, in one place, you're able to collaborate so much better. You're able to service your client so much better because they're able to see everything in one place. And you have a really solid record. If somebody were to say, well, what are you billing me for? Or how do you justify this rate? Everything is provided like an audit trail for you. So that's from kind of a top level of what we are. We truly believe in cloud technology and the fact that everything's eventually going to be 100% cloud, but not compromising. You don't want to give up on your compliance. You want to make sure you're functioning like a law firm should and using tools that have the features that help a law firm to grow. So with that, this is what we have in the system. It's all together. We're a little bit different from Tabs3 in that we're not modular. So everything's in one login. When you purchase a subscription, everything's there. And you're able to access your billing, your business accounting, like I said, your trust accounting, but also those daily practice management activities as well. So what I'll do now, assuming there's no questions since I have not been interrupted, is I will dive into the program, give you a bit of a sneak peek overview. I mean, I could talk about the system for hours if you let me, but I won't. But this will be a little bit of a quick overview for you to understand all that we do, how everything kind of works together. And then, of course, if you want to get more in depth, you can let Paul or myself know. All right, so I'm going to switch on into the program, and here we are. Okay, so the first thing is, like I said, fully cloud. So all you do is open your browser, log in, and that's it. It's very similar to you accessing your email or something similar to that. So when I'm in the system, we do have on the left side here this navigation panel. So this is what we'll be jumping through throughout the overview so that you could see all the different areas of the software. This first area is a dashboard. I particularly love dashboards because it's a way for you to get specific visual information so that when you log in, you can quickly look at it and kind of say, oh yeah, everything's good, it looks pretty okay. Or, wait a minute, my overdue invoices, I have 133, that's high. Let me take a look. Click on here, drill a little bit further, expand my screen, and maybe do some actions from there. So it's meant to kind of pull up those red flags and allow you to take action on it as opposed to not realizing that that situation's even a problem. So this dashboard here is actually the firm dashboard. This is usually for an administrator or a managing partner, somebody who wants to see across the entire firm. That does not mean everybody gets this access, of course. You still have your really robust permissions and restrictions to say who can see what. So for instance, timekeeper utilization, what are all the entries for each timekeeper, what's been billed or paid that month. All of these are drillable, like I said, for you to kind of dig down into what those details are. Users still get their own dashboard. You don't want to forget about having like an agenda, especially from a practice management perspective. You need to know what's going on today or upcoming in terms of events. Let me actually zoom this out just a little bit. There we go. I have my events listed here. These are my tasks. So we do have a full task management system where you can assign tasks to yourself or to other users to ensure that things get done. And one of my favorite areas is this here called the Money Finder. So if you are currently using maybe a separate calendar, or you might be using Practice Master, one of my favorite points here is all of those activities, especially if you do hourly work, they're all billable. But you just want to make sure you're actually billing for it because that's eventually how you get paid. So in our system, if you have an event, a task, or a note, and it eventually should get billed, but maybe the event's not for 3 weeks, you can actually flag it as billable, and then if you don't make a time entry for it, it's going to show up here. So this is basically saying that this meeting with Jim that was on the 13th, I said it was billable, and I did not make a time entry. What do I want to do? I can come here and maybe edit and make it unbillable. Maybe I need to delete it because it didn't happen. Or I can add a time card straight from here. It'll come off my list and, of course, get billed to my client whenever I invoice. So very helpful dashboard tools. Cloud programs especially tend to be fairly robust with dashboards. A lot of that visual analytics is very trendy now with those types of programs. Moving to matters. So this is where you have all of your different files. This is where you would set them up. You can see that I have, I'm going to highlight somebody that I know I have some decent data for. I'm going to go to my buddy Jim over here. And you'll see the billing method at the far left. So of course we support hourly, fixed, and contingency. This little icon here is for the client portal. So if you're not familiar with portals, it's basically an encrypted website that you can invite your client to, and you can share information with them. It can include invoices, documents, notes, events, but my favorite part is it's fully customizable from a security perspective. So Jim here, I have an ability to say, you know what, I want to share events and documents, and that's it, nothing else. Or all these other matters that don't have that icon, I don't even have a portal for them. So it's very flexible. I truly believe, or at least from feedback from our users, definitely for invoices, because we do have online payments through LawPay. So a lot of clients like to click in the portal, click a button, and pay online. And also documents, because it does give you that secure encrypted area to share as opposed to emailing. So something to think about if you have not considered portals in the past, and that is included with the system. So you have Jim here with his matter, file numbers, which can auto-populate if you want them to. And then we have our balances. So we have billing balances, which is maybe unpaid, what's due on this matter, or unbilled, what's due to be billed. And do I have any client funds? Typically, for most of you, those client funds would be in the trust account, which is this far column right here. There's also a lot of actions on this page. So you can track your time, track your costs, do trust transactions. You all probably noticed on this page, I have a big, huge timer at the very top. So you can start the timer, go wherever you need to go, it will always be visible. So you can pause it, you can restart it, you can add matter details if you need to, whatever is the easiest workflow for you. Many users like the timesheet, which is this button here. If you tend to work on many things at once, like to jump between different items, jump between different timers, this is a great area. Each line here is a potential time card, so you can work on them throughout the day. These items will stay here until you either delete or post them. So if you come back after lunch, if you come back the next morning, they will still be here for you to make any final edits or additions and then post it to the matter. You can even do that in a batch if you need to. You also have the ability to do a trust activity like I mentioned. So you have here trust deposit, so receiving funds in, trust withdrawal, which is taking funds out. And I can easily say here, let's say I'm going to cut a check to a third party out of the trust account for this person. So you can print your checks both for trust, business account, whatever it may be. Let's say this is to a third party. It also, because that integrated accounting, is going to make an entry on this liability account for trust funds. So you're not having to think, where does this money have to go? What account should it be in? Should I change the account? It's standard. That's going to add that account for you. And it's also going to prevent you from, of course, overdrafting on a ledger. This is one of those legal specific functions, especially when you're dealing with trust, that you want to make sure you catch it. Maybe I meant an extra zero. This was supposed to be 300 and I actually meant 3,000. That could be a big problem if I didn't prevent that. I also want to show you within the matter. So this is the main matter page. You also can go, if I double click on that file, you can go within that matter and you can see what I call like the electronic file folder for this particular matter. I have the name at the very top left. I have their balances at the top right, so those are always visible. And on the left, I have all these different tabs for different types of information. And all of these pieces are linked to this matter. So everything you do, of course, you can link to a file and you can come here and view it. So I have a summary dashboard, which is letting me know things like contact information, my money finder, my billing balances, and if I have anything overdue would be here. Custom fields. If you have custom information that you need to track that we don't have a field for, you can create it in the system and add it here to complete. All of the billing is here, whether it's the time expense or the invoices. Banking is full transactional history for the trust account or for the business account for invoice payments. And you can also, from here, print your checks if need be. Email communication. So we do have an email integration in which you can set up with any email provider. It's actually a forwarding rule that will send copies of your emails here and tag it to the matter automatically if it recognizes the client's email. So if it says, oh, I know this client, I know their matter, I'm going to go ahead and tag it for you. If it does not know that person, or if that person has multiple matters, it's going to prompt you and say that you need to go ahead and tag those items. Really helpful for archival, of course, if you need to look back on a conversation, but also if you have multiple matter parties working on a file, people forget to copy people all the time and you end up out of the loop. So this is a great way to see all of the communication that's happening with the client, whether it's you or somebody else. Here's the calendar. So this is within the matter, so it's just in list format. We do have a full calendar in the system that's in your typical day, week, month view, where you can see all the events that are going on for yourself. This is just the history for Jim's specific case. But as I mentioned, when you're adding an event or a task or anything like that, you can say, is it shareable in the client portal, if you have that turned on, and is it billable? Then you fill in your regular event items like your descriptions and your reminders, and this way you know it's going to get billed and you know it's going to be filed under that matter. We do have integrations for calendaring. While we have our own standalone calendar, we integrate with Google and Office 365 as well. Task management, so you can create a task for, like I said, yourself or any other user. And here is where you can also link it to the matter, say that it's billable, when is it due, who is it assigned to, which are other users. Document storage, we do have storage within our system, just within CosmoLex, but you also can use our integrations, which are Dropbox, Box, and OneDrive. You're welcome to use those. Great for not only the storage of documents, but again, sharing through that portal. That's what these little guys here are for. Matter notes, relations, which are related contacts, opposing counsel, spouse, relative, witness. Add them here, and that reinforces your conflict check. And then here's that client portal control panel. So if you're curious about the client portal, how it works, how they get invited, this is where I kind of turn it on. I invite the person, and I say what I want to share on that matter. So you get an idea as to what that looks like. So that's all kind of matter-centric activity. I also want to talk about the firm, mainly from an accounting perspective. You need to manage that back office piece. So I'm going to go over here to accounting. And we have 3 different types of bank accounts you can manage. You have credit, which is your business credit cards. You want to keep track of that ledger and make sure all of your expenses are accounted for. We have the operating account, which is the firm's business account. This is where you track any firm expenses. That's where your income will end up. I have a lot of accounts here, of course, but you may have just one of each or maybe a couple more. And then, of course, you have the trust account. That's where all of your trust activity takes place. If you have more than one trust account, that's perfectly fine. But the idea is within each one of these, so I'll go within this trust account, you're going to see your full ledger. So all the activity that took place on that file. I can even print checks across all of my matters if I need to. We have excellent filtering throughout the program, which is this little magnifier here, in which you can locate particular information on that page. It's on our matter page, our invoice page, transactions, all over the place to help you to narrow down that list. And we also have export buttons on every page. So if you wanted to export whatever information you got from that filter, you could do that too. And of course, your reconciliation. You need to reconcile your accounts, monthly preferred, if not more frequent. You can come in here and look at your deposits and payments that have taken place, compare it with your bank statement. We also have more electronic ways of doing this, like you can connect to the bank through a bank feed, and that allows you to daily see what is cleared and confirm those matches. You also can import at the end of the month. If you want to just import your online bank statement, you can do that too. And that just helps you look for matches a little easier, a little bit more in an electronic format as opposed to physically looking at a piece of paper and figuring out yourself. Going back, we also have, I'll show you a view of what an import kind of looks like here so you have an idea, like a bank feed type of setup. Let me close this. And this is kind of what it looks like. So it's basically a way for you to have all the data already in there. You just need to select which chart of account it's for, which expense account usually, and is it related to a client? If so, you can go ahead and bill it to that client. All right, going back to my page here, you can, of course, track your firm expenses. That's this accounts payable area. You can actually manage the bills. Like if it's a rent bill and it's monthly, you can put that in here. You can say, maybe this is for, I'm going to say landlord. I have it to my rent account, recurring, monthly, and that way you can stay on top of your bills, mark them as paid when they're paid, and you can actually enter the transaction then. And a full chart of accounts. This is your general ledger. So we provide you with a pretty robust list, but you can go ahead and customize that however you need to with whatever types of accounts that you have. And the last piece I'll cover is reports. So whenever you're doing your billing and accounting, of course, it all results in a report, and you want to make sure that those reports are accurate and easy to produce. So we do have a full listing of your basic accounting reports here. So your end of year profit and loss, balance sheet, general ledger. You can report on any particular account, any group of accounts, and all of these reports you can view in the system or export as PDF or Excel. Payable reports, even 1099, you need to see who you need to file 1099s for. You can generate that report and even e-file if you want. Some more advanced accounting I won't get too much into, but you can do a profit and loss by class, attorney, area of law. You can also do distribution calculations. If you want to be able to see what each attorney billed, that's under here, what each attorney billed, what each attorney collected, maybe they get 10% of what they bring in, you can absolutely do those calculations here, and the reports will actually do those calculations for you. And your full trust reporting as well. So like I said, this was meant to give you an overview just to kind of understand what we are and what we do. If you want to learn a little bit more, you of course are welcome to reach out, but that ends my portion.
Well, that's awesome. I know how hard it must be for you, Erica, to get that down to 20, 25 minutes. And I have to say, I thought I was the only person in the world that said, I could talk about this stuff for hours and hours, but you must have learned that from me, I'm guessing.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Well, okay. Well, thank you, Erica. Of course, everybody that's attending this knows, if they've ever been in any of our webinars before, that I can't let people go without taking them to our website to show them how to get to all the content that's out there, because that's one of the things that we here at Attorney Computer Systems are known for. If you go to attorneycomputersystems.com, I emphasize that last S in the word systems because it's kind of important, and click on videos. I'm going to click on it, but you can also hover and get a short list. But I'm going to click on it and get the long list of all of our titles. You will find in here, we have 6 titles, and the top 4 are live. You're currently in a coffee pot webinar. If you're actually here on the 15th of March, 2019 at 11:11 a.m. or 11:31 a.m., then you are watching it live. We also have our VUGs, our virtual user group meetings, and we have one for Tabs, one for Practice Master, one for World Docs. We might end up with one for CosmoLex pretty soon. But right now, these are the 3 that we have. Those are live events. And we also have 2 pre-recorded titles. Mary Jo does her eBites video series. She records 3 of these each month, one on Tabs, one on Practice Master, one on World Docs. And these are little 2-3 minute videos where we take something really cool that we think everybody should know about, that we can explain concisely in 2 or 3 minutes, and Mary Jo makes an eBite for it. For broader topics or things that take a deeper dive to get to the heart of the issue, we have what we call the Paul and Mary Jo Show. Yes, I know my son, when he first heard that, he laughed too. But this is where either I or Mary Jo will take a topic that's more